She was 2 years older, always confident, always glowing, the kind of person who walked into a room and made everyone tilt toward her like sunflowers. I was the quiet one, the observer, but I never minded, not really. I looked up to her, I followed her. I trusted her. We were best friends, or at least that's what I used to believe. Even after she moved out for college and I stayed behind, we still called each other every weekend. We'd binge watch old Disney movies over FaceTime. She'd tell me about her classes, her heartbreaks, her weird roommates. I'd tell her about Mom's garden or the way the house felt emptier without her in it. But something changed about a year ago. She stopped calling as much. Her texts got shorter. Replies came hours, sometimes days later. I chalked it up to stress, to life, to distance. I figured she was busy, until one day she stopped responding altogether. At first I waited. Days turned into a week. Then 2, then I saw the photo. It was a friend who sent it, an old classmate of Mia's. A blurry Instagram post, reposted from someone else's story. But even with the bad lighting and low quality, I knew that smile. I knew that face. It was Mia. She was holding a bouquet of pale pink roses and showing off a diamond ring the size of my thumbnail. Her caption read, he asked. I said yes, ring. Revolving, can't wait to marry the love of my life. I stared at it for a long time. No call, no message, no heads up. I tried to laugh it off. Told myself maybe she meant to tell me in person. Maybe it was all so new, she hadn't had time to reach out. So I sent a message, engaged, is this real? Congratulations, sis, loudly. Ring, who is he? When do I get to meet him? No reply. 2 days later, I called, straight to voicemail. Then another day passed. Finally, a text came back. One line, no emojis, no warmth. Hey, I think it's better if you don't come to the wedding. It's complicated. Just stay away, okay? I sat there on my bed, staring at those words. My chest felt hollow, my throat dry. Don't come to the wedding. I read the message again, thinking maybe I misunderstood it. But it was clear, cold, deliberate. I typed a reply. What, Mia, what are you talking about? Why wouldn't I be at your wedding? Why didn't you even tell me about him? I'm your sister. I watched the screen. The little typing bubble appeared, then disappeared. Nothing. I didn't know whether to be angry or heartbroken. Both emotions hit me like waves, crashing in no particular order. I tried calling again. This time, it rang once before going to voicemail. Blocked. That night, I sat in the kitchen with Mom and asked her point blank. Did you know Mia's getting married? Mom hesitated. Her fingers tightened slightly on the mug she was holding. Yes, she said softly. For how long? She exhaled. A few months. I blinked. You didn't think to tell me. She asked me not to. Mom admitted, her voice low. Said things between you two were tense. I didn't want to get in the middle. We weren't tense. I snapped. We barely talked because she stopped answering me. What's going on, Mom? She wouldn't look me in the eyes. I left the table. That night, I cried harder than I had in years. And not just because I wasn't invited to the wedding. Not even because Mia blocked me, but because, for the first time in my life, I felt like I didn't know my sister at all. The days that followed were heavy and strange. I went through old photos of us in matching Halloween costumes, laughing with popsicle, stained lips, lying side by side on the trampoline at night watching stars. What had I done to deserve this? I couldn't let it go. Not just out of hurt, but out of instinct. Something was off. Why would Mia, who once made me maid of honor at a fake wedding we staged in our backyard with stuffed animals, now not even let me meet the man she was marrying? Was it shame? Was it fear? Or was she hiding something? I started small. I scrolled through her tagged photos, scanned every blurry snapshot of the mystery man with the 2 white teeth and perfect smile. His name was Ethan Reed. He looked like a stock photo come to life, too polished, too practiced. The more I looked at him, the more uneasy I felt. Something about his eyes made my stomach knot. I couldn't explain it. I tried to let it go. But something in my gut whispered, if she won't let you meet him now, then maybe he's the kind of man who shouldn't be met at all. So I made a decision. If Mia didn't want me at her wedding, I wouldn't force my way in. But I also wouldn't walk away without knowing why. And if I found something, if I found out she was in danger, being lied to, or making a mistake she couldn't undo, then I would be there. Not as a guest, not as a sister, but as the last person standing between her and disaster. Even if she hated me for it, I wasn't looking for trouble. I was looking for answers. But trouble found me anyway, hidden beneath Instagram filters, polished smiles, and wedding hashtags. Mia didn't want me at her wedding. She blocked me, cut me off, made it crystal clear I wasn't welcome. But why? That single question became an itch I couldn't ignore. I started by doing what any emotionally wounded and slightly obsessive sister would do. I created a fake Instagram account. A blank profile with a random name and a generic travel quote in the bio. I followed a few wedding-themed pages, like some engagement ring posts, then followed Mia's account again. She accepted the request within an hour. She didn't know it was me, of course not. She thought she had blocked me. That gave me access to everything. Her wedding content was overwhelming. Wedding planning is stressful. Posts, cake tastings, bridal dress selfies in beige, lit fitting rooms, but he was in most of them, Ethan Reed. Every time I saw his face, I got that same uncomfortable twist in my gut. It wasn't just dislike, it was recognition. He looked familiar, too familiar. I went back to my own photo archives, scrolled through old college pictures, parties, nights out, even deleted message threads. And then I found it, buried deep in my email spam folder. From 3 years ago, a message with no subject line, just one sentence, "You'll regret this." It was from someone who had called himself Chris. I met him during a short summer internship in the city. We'd gone out twice before I caught him lying about where he worked. When I confronted him, he got aggressive, weirdly persistent, like I owed him something. I'd blocked him, deleted everything, moved on. And now here he was again, with a different name, different haircut, but the same dead look in his eyes. Ethan, Chris, or whatever his real name was. My hands trembled on the keyboard. I clicked through his tagged photos. Scrolled through mutual friends, found a few people I recognized from years ago, friends of friends. So I reached out to one. Her name was Kiara, and she had been at that internship with me. We hadn't spoken in years, but when I messaged her asking, "Do you remember a guy named Chris from the marketing firm that summer? Tall, dark hair, intense eyes." Her reply was instant. "OMG, yes, that guy was creepy. He hit on everyone, told people different names, got fired for something shady. Wait, why?" I sent her a screenshot of Ethan's face. She replied with one word, "No." Then, "That's him, that's literally him." My stomach dropped. He hadn't just lied to me. He had built an entire identity on lies, and now my sister was going to marry him. Kiara wasn't the only one. I reached out to another girl, this time from a wedding forum, ironically where I found a thread discussing men with fake online dating profiles. Someone had posted a photo of a man named Daniel, who turned out to be married and using a fake name to cheat. It was him again. Different name, same face, 3 identities, 1 man. I knew what I had to do, but here's the twist I didn't see coming. My sister already knew. It came from another source, someone I never expected to talk to me. A week after my discovery, I got a message on my burner Instagram from an account with no profile picture and no posts. "Why are you snooping around Mia's fiancé?" I replied cautiously. "Who is this?" They responded, "Someone who cares about her, and someone who knows you're her sister, even if she's pretending otherwise." The next message had a screenshot. A conversation between Mia and someone else talking about me. I just don't want her near him. She'll recognize him. She almost ruined his life once. My blood went cold. Mia knew. She knew who he was. She knew I'd met him before. She knew what he was capable of, and instead of believing me, instead of protecting herself, she chose him. She chose to protect his secrets rather than trust mine. My sister thought I was a threat to her perfect wedding. And maybe she was right. But not because I wanted revenge. Because I knew the truth, and I wasn't going to sit by and watch her destroy her life for a man built entirely on lies. So I made a plan. I wouldn't beg for an invitation. I wouldn't try to talk her out of it. She'd already decided what side she was on. But I would be at that wedding, not as a guest, not as family, but as someone who refused to let her walk blind into a life she didn't understand. And when the truth came out, when I made it come out, she'd hate me maybe, she'd cry, she'd scream. But one day, she'd look back and realize I wasn't the one who betrayed her. I was the one who saved her. Even when she didn't want to be saved, the day of Mia's wedding arrived like a storm front, silent and heavy, with the kind of pressure that settles in your bones before the rain ever falls. I woke up early, heart pounding, knowing what I was about to do. I wasn't invited. I wasn't welcome. But I was going anyway, not to make a scene, not to ruin her day out of spite, but to tell the truth. Because if no one else was going to stop her from marrying a man built entirely on lies, then I would. Even if it cost me everything, I didn't wear black, too cliché. Instead, I dressed like I belonged, soft blue silk, hair curled neatly, makeup done with a steady hand. I looked like any other guest, maybe even a distant cousin no one could quite place. The venue was stunning, a lakeside estate, all white chairs and hanging lanterns, soft piano music floating in the breeze. Perfect, painfully perfect. I slipped in through the back during the seating process. Nobody noticed. Everyone was too busy cooing over the floral arrangements or getting the perfect shot of the view. I stayed in the shadows, near the trees, watching. Mia looked radiant, absolutely breathtaking. Her gown floated around her like mist. Her veil trailed behind her like a secret. She smiled like someone who had convinced herself she was safe, and Ethan or Chris or Daniel or whatever name he was using that week looked polished. Calm, too calm. When the officiant began to speak, I waited. My fingers were clenched around the envelope in my purse, filled with every piece of evidence I'd spent the last month collecting. The officiant cleared his throat. We are gathered here today to witness the union of Mia Carter and Ethan Reed. And that was my moment. I stepped forward. I'm sorry, I said, voice steady but loud enough to cut through the air like a blade. I need to say something. The music stopped. A collective murmur swept through the crowd. Mia turned her head slowly, and when she saw me, her face went ghost white. What are you doing here? She hissed. Her voice cracked, not with anger but with fear. I held up the envelope. I didn't come to ruin your wedding. I came to stop a mistake. Her eyes darted to Ethan. He stiffened, jaw twitching. Security? There's no need for security, I said. I'll leave after I say this, but Mia, you deserve to hear it. I turned toward the guests. Some of you may know him as Ethan. Some may not know him at all, but I know him. He went by Chris when I met him, and Daniel before that. He's changed his name, his story, his past more times than I can count. I opened the envelope. Inside, screenshots, testimonials, even a printed police report Kiara had tracked down on my behalf. Fraud, identity falsification, harassment. I'm not here because I'm jealous or bitter or dramatic. I'm here because I care more about my sister's safety than her silence. The guests were frozen. A few gasps, a few whispering behind their hands. Ethan was sweating now, his mask cracking. Mia just stood there, silent, shaking. I handed her the envelope. You can read it now or later, but it's real, and you know it's real. You've always known. He turned to her suddenly. Mia, don't listen to her. She's always been unstable. You told me yourself. Don't, she said quietly. Her voice was barely audible. Don't twist this. He tried to laugh it off. She's lying. This is jealousy, that's all. Then why? I said calmly, are you under investigation in 2 states? Why did you lie about your name when we first met 3 years ago? I could see it, the unraveling. The mask was gone now. Ethan's face tightened into something sharp and ugly, and then Mia finally spoke. Is it true? He didn't answer. Is it true? She screamed this time, still nothing. That silence, it was louder than any confession. And then she did something I didn't expect. She removed her veil, took off the ring, and dropped both at his feet. Get out, she said. He stood frozen. Get out. This time security did step in, not for me, for him. The guests parted like the Red Sea as Ethan was escorted off the property, his face stormy and exposed. Some people turned away from him, some recorded on their phones, but no one followed him. I stood there, unsure what to do next. Mia hadn't looked at me since it happened. Her hands were trembling, and she was pale beneath her makeup. Her bouquet lay forgotten on the ground, petals crushed into the grass. I started to turn, to leave without a word. But then I heard her voice, wait. I stopped. She walked toward me slowly, barefoot now, her heels discarded in the chaos. I should have listened, she said, barely above a whisper. I knew something was off. I knew, and I didn't want it to be true. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't block you because I hated you. I blocked you because I was afraid you'd be right. I swallowed hard. I never wanted to hurt you. I know. We stood there, quiet and raw, 2 broken halves of the same childhood. You saved me, she whispered. No, I said gently. You saved yourself. I just gave you the light. She reached for my hand, and for the first time in what felt like years, I felt like her sister again. The wedding was canceled. The flowers were donated to a nearby hospital. The guests slowly trickled out, murmuring and confused. Mia went home with Mom. I went home alone, exhausted, but calm. Later that night, I got a text from her. Next time I plan a wedding, you're the first one I'm calling. I smiled, tears silently slipping down my cheek. Sometimes love means letting someone fall. Sometimes it means catching them right before they hit the ground, even when they push you away. And sometimes love means crashing the one day you were told to stay away from, just to protect the one person who forgot who you really are. A sister, a shield, a truth they didn't want but needed.